What up, though, good people? Welcome back to Dude Days of Divorce. To be honest with you, I don't know what day this is. Um, I'm done counting. I'm not going to keep counting. It's counterproductive for my mental health, so I'm done counting. I don't know what take this is of me trying to do this video, but it's taken out to be. I cannot condense it into as short as videos that I would like. So I'm going to have to do a part one, part two for this one in particular because it's going to cover the engagement and the marriage, the entirety of the marriage. Um, so I guess I'll take this one up to the point to where divorce is starting to be mentioned, right? So I left off last time. We got engaged, Super Bowl halftime at one of her friends' house. So one of the things that you do after getting engaged, the first things you do is you take engagement pictures. Um, so up until this point, my ex had been growing out her hair naturally for me because that's what I find most attractive. My ex is a pretty woman, beautiful woman. No matter how she wears her hair, she's going to be a pretty woman. She was, wearing like a feminine version of a Boosie fade when we first met, and she was a pretty woman. Um, so when we go to take our pictures, she breaks out this big Dolly Parton style wig. It's black, not blonde, but it's one of them big bouffant wigs, right? And she wants to use that for the pictures. And she says that she wants to use it because she just wants to do something different. She didn't have time to do her hair. She didn't know what to do with her hair. She doesn't know how to do natural hair. Um, so took the pictures and we carry on from there. During the engagement, we go through premarital counseling. And because we were seeking to be discipled instead of just counseled, we sought premarital counseling through my godparents, who are both biblical counselors, and they have the kind of marriage that we wanted to emulate. So that's why we decided to go through them, and we go through premarital, and I don't see how it could be any more successful, right? All of the assessments that we took said that we were a match, we were destined for success. Uh, so much so that my godparents questioned us about whether or not, we took them honestly and separately from each other, or did we collaborate on our answers, which we didn't. We did take them separately. I wouldn't cheat that system because I take marriage way too seriously. It's way too big of a decision and a commitment to try to, manipulate and cheat your way into it, right? I want to know exactly what I'm getting myself involved in, right? So, well, again, everything said we were set up for success. So back to just the engagement. We're going through the engagement. The only real issue during the engagement uh, was she started complaining about her hair. Um, we didn't have really many issues doing any wedding planning. She didn't require much of me during that process, which I was thankful for. Um, Yeah, so the only thing was her hair. She started complaining that she wanted to cut her hair because she didn't know how to do natural hair. She didn't learn how to do natural hair when she got a cosmetology license. She didn't want to pay anybody. She didn't want to learn how to do it on like YouTube tutorials and all that type of stuff. But she just wanted to cut it. And at first, I'm trying to encourage her, tell her how pretty she looks. I'm suggesting YouTube tutorials and suggesting go out and have somebody do it for her. So I want to do all that, but the complaining goes on so much to where I was finally like, you know what, you don't like it, and you complain too much for me to enjoy it. Go ahead and do what you want to do. And so she's like, nah, you like it, so I want to keep doing it for you. And so we end up getting married, had a wedding. The wedding was a good occasion. Um, Went off pretty much without a hitch. It's always something at a wedding. So the one thing that I can remember right offhand um, was that the somehow my wedding ring didn't make it to the venue, so we had to use my brother's football championship ring as a substitute. And other than that, it was a good ceremony the whole nine. But now we're married, and now that we're married, the weight of marriage is weighing on me. I am feeling the pressure of till death do us part. Um, what is helping me is that I feel like I'm not doubtful of the woman that I've chosen, right? I'm not doubtful of that, but I am feeling the weight of the decision that I just made and the action that I just took. And so throughout like the first 4 or 5 months, I'm feeling this pressure. And I know when I'm under pressure, I get, you know, more easily irritated, agitated, things like that. And so I'm noticing things in the marriage that I'm having issues with, but I'm also knowing that, I'm feeling this pressure and that these issues may just be emanating from that. And so I'm like, let me focus on the pressure first, deal with the pressure, and then I can see better what are the real issues that remain. And so that's what I did. I finally was able to alleviate the pressure by accepting that I can't be married 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years in one day. I can only be married for the day, that day. And I can only make the best decisions that I can for that day, right? And so that alleviated a lot of the pressure. And um, uh, throughout this time, uh, my wife, she never voiced that she was feeling that same kind of pressure. Even when I told her that I was, she never voiced that she was feeling that same kind of pressure. So I don't know that she was, and I'm not going to assume that for her. And she didn't have any issue, voicing her issues with me up until that point. And her issues primarily fell into one or two categories: uh, interaction and how I carried myself. When it came to how I carried myself, it was things like how I dress and how I talk and things like that. And I'm very comfortable with me, and this is the me that who I am. Um, this is who you married. Make sure that I'm enough for you, and that's the case. I'm not going to try to change the core of who you are. Don't try to change the core of who I am. I will change as time goes on because that's how life works. But don't try to uh, dress me up to the man that you want me to be. Allow me to be the man that I am and the man that God's making me to be, right? But then when it came to the issues that she had with like our interaction, of course I'm gonna be all on top of that because everybody deserves to be treated how they want to be treated within reason. But especially my wife deserved to be treated how she wanted to be treated within reason, and she wasn't asking for anything unreasonable. So of course, right? So I'm on top of those things to the point to where that she, voluntarily says that one of the things that she loves about me is how I address her issues with consistency, right? So after I get past dealing with the pressure of forever, I start voicing my issues that remain that weren't caused by the pressure because again some of it was right and some of it was just the growing pains of living together with someone, those first several months of living together with someone and getting uh, that chemistry down pat. And so when I finally started voicing my issues, I was noticing there didn't seem to be any effort on her part to address those issues. And so I would, initially it would be like, okay, maybe she's not understanding. Maybe I'm going to take the blame on me. Maybe I'm not communicating well enough as I should be. And, I know I'm not the best communicator, but I do believe that after 2 or 3 times of me trying to explain myself to any person with average intelligence, if their desire is to understand what I'm saying, they'll be able to understand it after the third attempt, right? But that wasn't the case with my wife, with my ex. So in those moments, I would start to feel like my intelligence was being played with, and I, continue looking for different ways to explain, and those different ways would become, more frustrated, less patient, less kind, and I would say something out of pocket, and that out of pocket thing that I would say uh, would then become the focus of the conversation instead of the issue that I voiced, and the issue that I voiced would then go to the wayside and not be addressed. And once I started noticing that pattern, I did a much better job of bridling my tongue and to not give her an excuse or an out for not addressing my my issues. And it's a good place to start. Was her overall response to that was that basically is that she don't be in the mood. She don't be in the mood. And that's what we're gonna pick up next time.